Welcome. It's Friday, so it must be Connetics USA weekly show, Onward and Upward, everything that a healthcare worker needs to know about coming to live and work in the United States. I am your host, Tanya Friedman, CEO of Connetics USA, the #1 company bringing direct hire nurses to the United States. And we are very excited to be with you today. Our topic for today is discovering the differences and the similarities in the direct hire model as well as the staffing model. Today, we have a lot of good things that we're going to learn. Very, very exciting. So we're going to learn who is Connetics, who is our sister company, OGrady Payton, who is AmN International, all of these new names that are coming into the Onwards and Upwards show. We're going to be learning about what is the same in these two different models. We're going to be learning about what is different so that every healthcare worker around the world can know what the options are. We are also going to be learning about the different opportunities that we have around the United States. We're going to be learning about the myths. We're going to be taking a deep dive into these different topics, and we're going to be bringing in some experts and nurses that are going to be sharing a lot of good thoughts, experiences, and a lot of inspiration, I hope, for you today. Before we get started, though, today, we're gonna just start off with a little bit of a difference. Usually, we get right into the content of the program. Today, I want to start off a little different because yesterday we had the visa bulletin came out, and the visa bulletin, unfortunately, took us back for rest of the world and Philippines to May the 1st, 2020. For both rest of the world, Philippines, India, and China, unfortunately, are backlogged even further. So, what does that mean for you? What does that mean for all healthcare workers around the world? Now, we know that this news can feel very scary, very frustrating, very overwhelming, and a lot of people today are feeling very disappointed and sad and thinking, oh my goodness, how am I ever going to get to the United States? So before we get into the content of today's meeting, because really what retrogression means is it just means that you're going to be delayed. It doesn't mean that we can't bring you to the United States. It's a long process and it's going to take longer. So we know that this brings up a whole lot of emotions in everybody who's watching. And I see we have viewers all around the world who are watching us today. If you're watching today, please put your name in the chat and where you're watching from. We love to see our viewers all over the world. But before we get into the content of today's show, we want to speak just a few minutes about retrogression because we know that this is very frustrating and disappointing news. And as we were sitting in our team yesterday thinking about how this feels for healthcare workers around the world, I was reminded of the movie In a League of Their Own. I know it's a very famous movie. It's about baseball, women's baseball in the Second World War. And there's a scene in that movie which I really want everybody to think about and keep in mind as we navigate this show together today. And that is where Tom Hanks, who is the coach, is speaking to Gina Davis, who is one of the players. She's one of the star players, and she's about to quit. And he says, it's supposed to be hard. If it wasn't hard, everyone would do it. The hard is what makes it great. Let's do it again. It's supposed to be hard. If it wasn't hard, everyone would do it. The hard is what makes it great. So to everybody who's watching around the world today, we know that the news of retrogression yesterday was upsetting. We know that it is extremely frustrating and upsetting. But please don't quit. Don't quit. We've got you. The reward will be worth it. I was an immigrant myself, as many of you know. I came here 23 years ago. I arrived on the 4th of July. I always thought it was significant, Independence Day. And it really was one of the toughest things I've ever done. It was so hard. It was hard to get here and get my green card. It was hard to settle. My husband hated it. He packed his suitcases every day. My oldest daughter, Danielle, who many of you have met, was miserable in school. She couldn't settle. We had no money. We couldn't buy a car. We didn't understand credit, taxes. It was hard. It was hard. It was hard, everybody. But we didn't give up. And today, 23 years later, I want to show you a picture of my American grandchild who was born and born in America, and this is her on Independence Day a few days ago. The reward is worth it. So we just want to start it off today's show with a little bit more of an inspiration. Don't be upset. Don't be frustrated. We've got you, everybody. And we're now going to start the show and talk about the possibilities with both OGrady and Connetics, staffing model and direct hire, and how we have options to bring you to the United States. And with that said, I'm going to bring in our team of experts who are going to introduce themselves. So we're joined today by Sinead, by Deirdre, by Lisa, and by Holly. Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome.
Good morning, Tanya.
Tanya. And everybody, this is a live show. We have a lot of guests, so just bear with us as we're going today. And I actually had a little glitch today. You'll see my screen's a little dark. My computer wasn't working. Oh my goodness. But I'm here, and our experts are all here to join you today. And we are very excited to speak to you about how we can help you come to the United States. The rewards are worth it, and don't give up. So we are joined today by Narjas, who's saying hi, Jeanette saying hi, Edward is saying I applied directly on the Connetics USA website. Yay, Edward, please apply. And for those of you who are watching today's show, please apply to the website that is going to be this right now, amnhealthcare.com/international. We have a new link for you to join, and our team are waiting on hand to speak to you and find out how we can help you come to America. We have, oh my goodness, so many people joining us. This is so fun. We've got Nadia who's joining us. She had signed up with O'Grady Payton, Matilda, Paul, Sedai, Arlene is saying, good morning, watching from Jamaica. Arlene, one of our regulars. Mary, good day. Alexandra is saying, how was your holiday, ma'am? Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you, Alexandra. I was on vacation. So wonderful to see everybody here today and to have our experts join us. Okay, let's get started. So I'm going to start off with introductions. And I think we seem to have a little bit of a background noise. So I think to our expert panel, if you are not speaking, maybe put yourself on mute because there seems to be a little bit of background noise for our viewers. Okay, we're going to start off with introductions. Sinead, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure, Tanya, I'd love to. Good morning, everybody. So I'm Sinead Carvery. I am a nurse, and I actually started my career almost 30 years ago with OGrady Payton International. I had just graduated in Ireland and came to the United States through the OGrady Payton International program. So I'm excited to share some of that journey with you today. I've had the tremendous pleasure of working very closely with Tanya over the last 12 months, and really we have become better together. So excited to share a little bit about AmN Healthcare, about OGrady Payton International, and about Connetics, and how we truly are better together, especially in uncertain times. So looking forward to the show today.
Thank you, Sinead. And please note, everybody, I know my screen's a little dark because I'm using my old computer, but we are all, everybody sit up straight. We are all wearing our Better Together t-shirts. These are our AmN Better Together t-shirts. And that's the one thing that I've learned to all our viewers around the world. It's hard to do this alone. It's very, very hard to immigrate to the United States, especially at this time of uncertainty with the retrogression, where you don't know what to do, you don't know how to go about it. And that's where AmN International, OGrady, and Connetics are there for you. You don't have to do this alone. And as Sinead said, we are better together. Okay, Deirdre, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I have had the distinct pleasure of being on a couple of these shows. So hello to everybody. My background is blurred right now because I am in a hotel room in Chicago. I am on a weekend away with my very best friend, but this was a very important show, so wanted to make sure that I was attending. So I'm Deirdre OGrady. I'm Senior Director of Recruitment at O'Grady Peyton International. Probably can tell from my accent, like Tanya and Sinead, I am an immigrant as well, coming from Ireland. Arrived in the US, I won't say how many years ago, I'm not going to age myself, but quite some time ago, and really, really excited to talk about this topic today. We get a lot of questions surrounding this topic, so I think that it is a perfect time to kind of dispel some of the myths that are out there. So excited to answer your questions. And please remember that if you have a question, many others on this show have the same question. So please don't be shy and make sure that you're getting all of your answers today. So thank you, Tanya.
Thank you, Deirdre. So Sinead, Deirdre, and I, all immigrants. Sinead's a nurse, so we really can relate to your experience of coming to the United States. And I want to introduce our other two experts who are no strangers to the show. I'll start off with Holly.
Hi, everyone. My name is Holly Musselwhite, and I'm the clinical nurse educator for Connetics. I've been with them now for about 1.5 years, and it's been a wonderful experience. And yes, I have been on the show before. It's good to see everybody again. I have been a nurse for about 22 years now. Actually, this month is my NCLEX anniversary. So that just tells you a little bit about what I think about July. And I'm excited to talk to you about direct hire and staffing, our similarities, and the ways that we can help you to be successful in your journey here to the U.S. and once you're getting settled.
Thank you, Holly. And Holly, as she said, is a nurse, has been working with international nurses for many years. And I'm just looking at the faces on the screen. If I combine all the years of experience that with international nurses that I have, that Sinead has, that Deirdre has, Holly has, and Lisa's going to introduce herself now. Oh my goodness, there's probably no team in the whole world that has had more experience combined bringing international nurses to the United States, or healthcare workers to the United States. Mm-hmm. Lisa, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, yes, I'm Lisa McCollum-Brown with Connetics USA. It's nice to be here again. Thank you for having me. I've been working with healthcare professionals for about 27 years. I started very young in the staffing world. And I'm also very excited to say that I've worked with international nurses for about 17 years, both in staffing and direct hire. And so I'm very excited to be here today. I think it's going to be such a great, amazing show, and hopefully you'll learn a lot today. Thank you for having me again.
Thank you, Lisa. And just to point out to everybody who's watching, both Lisa and Holly have worked in both the direct hire and the staffing model. So there really is such a lot of viewpoints, such a lot of expertise that is coming to everybody today to discover the similarities, the differences of the staffing model, the differences and similarities of the direct hire model, and all the different options that are available to you as you navigate this period of uncertainty with the retrogression. Because at the end of the day, as our t-shirts say, we are better together. Okay, so let's start off with the basics. Most people on this call, and I'm just looking at the chat, know who Connetics are, the #1 company for direct hire, bringing healthcare workers to the United States. A lot of people know who O'Grady Peyton are, the #1 company bringing staffing, on the staffing side, bringing healthcare workers to the United States. But not everybody knows who AmN International are. So that's maybe a good place for us to start. I think, does anybody know in the chat who AmN International are? If you know who AmN International are, please put in the chat what you know about this awesome company, because we're going to be sharing some information with you, with all of you today. I see nobody's putting any information in the chat, which means this is going to be very interesting. Okay, so why is AmN International best poised to help you with your journey to the United States? We are what we call career matchmakers. Career matchmakers are experts who will speak to you, find out where you are in your journey. Have you passed your NCLEX? Have you passed your English exam? Do you have your visa screen? Do you have a friend, a sister, a colleague in the United States where you want to go to specifically? We are the ones who will find the best fit for you. We are the largest staffing company in the United States. And that's important because as we enter this period of retrogression, this is a company that's not going to go away. In the last retrogression, AmN International was the only company that was still standing besides Connetics through that retrogression period. Most experience in matching clinicians to the right job. So we've been doing this for years. We know how to find you the right fit. We know how to help you with the onboarding. We know how to help you with the clinical aspects. We have the most opportunities throughout the United States. So we're going to share a bit more information about that. And both companies have an excellent reputation. So you can really trust us to help you navigate this journey together. Many of you who watch the show know that I love Oprah. And Oprah always says, surround you with people who lift you higher. And that's really what AmN International can do for you. It's hard, as Tom Hanks said, but together we can get you through this process. Okay, so we're going to take a deep dive now into the staffing model, the direct hire, and a little bit about AmN International. Sinead, Deirdre. We're going to come to Deirdre in a minute, but Sinead's going to start off and just give us just an overview of what is the direct hire model, if anybody doesn't know, what is the staffing model, and why we're better together. Sinead?
Perfect, Tanya. Thank you. So as you probably already know, the direct hire model is when a healthcare facility reaches out to Connetics USA and says, we are interested in bringing international nurses directly to our core staff when they arrive in the United States. So in the direct hire model, the healthcare facility is your employer and the sponsor of your immigrant visa. In the staffing model, O'Grady Peyton International, who you know through the staffing model, is your employer and also the sponsor of your immigrant visa. So those are the two key differences between direct hire and staffing. In both models, there are benefits, bonuses, competitive pay rates. So we're going to show you the similarities today, just so you see how we're actually very similar, but then also we'll call out the differences. The key differences with O'Grady Peyton International, of course, is that we offer you a shorter commitment term. So we'll dive into that a little bit later as we look at the slides. But very excited just to give you an overview of direct hire. Lisa and Holly will give you a deep dive in there. And then Deirdre and myself will do the deep dive into staffing. Really want to get your questions in the chat today because that's how we can answer your questions directly. As Tanya said, I want to say more than 100 years of experience here today, so I want to make sure that you get your questions answered by us. So drop them in the chat. The team will field them to us as we go through the similarities and the differences between the direct and the staffing models.
Thank you, Sinead. That was a great overview of the different models. And if you are joining us right now, please, and you are interested in coming to the United States, please apply to amnhealthcare.com/international. And our team on both the O'Grady and the Connetics side are waiting for you to help you to find you the best fit to come to the United States. Remember, with retrogression, it doesn't stop the process. All it means is that we delayed. Sinead, do you want to tell a little bit about the history of how we came together?
I'd love to, Tanya. It's my favorite story to tell. So before we tell how Connetics and AmN Healthcare came together, I'm going to go back a little bit, a couple of decades, and tell you how O'Grady Peyton International and AmN Healthcare came together over 20 years ago. So back in the late 90s, early 2000s, O'Grady Peyton International, who were founded by an Irish couple, Irish and English couple, Joe O'Grady and Teresa Peyton, they were looking at the potential of selling the company. So they found AmN Healthcare. Many of our team members were on the team back then when O'Grady Peyton became part of AmN Healthcare. And the one thing I remember about the selection of the healthcare company that would purchase O'Grady Peyton International was about who they were, how were the cultures similar, and what was our purpose? What did we care about? So when O'Grady Peyton International and AmN Healthcare came together, the one thing I remember was that it mattered to us how we treated people. So 20 years later, Tanya and I met in a conference room or hotel in San Diego. And if you want to describe a love affair between two business professionals, the culture was exactly the same. The Connetics family, the O'Grady Peyton International family, and AmN Healthcare together, we cared about our purpose. We cared about the people that we were bringing to the United States, and we cared about their experience. So that's what I've loved about working with the Connetics team over the last 12 months, is our combined purpose, our desire to make sure that you land in the right spot, regardless of where you want to go, whether you think pay is the most important or cost of living is the most important. We care about getting you in the right spot. So that was really the experience that Tanya and I had coming together, Connetics and O'Grady Peyton with AmN Healthcare, is our combined purpose was the same. So we are very excited to continue that purpose together, especially during uncertain times. So during visa retrogression, we are more powerful together. We have all the options, all of the choices that you may want. And we are really looking forward to getting you to the right place and ensuring you get a great experience when you arrive in the US.
Thank you for Sinead for giving that history. And as you're talking about that, my mind is just going back to, you say this was a love affair. And that is so true, because if you look at the screen, so many of the O'Grady and Connetics people are immigrants themselves. And really our purpose and our mission is to help you. We know it's hard, as Tom Hanks says, so we're now bringing double reinforcements to you to help you through this hard time, and you are not alone. We are, as we say, better together. So Connetics was acquired by AmN in 2022. In fact, Sinead, time flies when you're having fun, but I think it's about 14 months actually, not even 12 months. That AmN International acquired Connetics, and as Sinead said, in 2001 acquired O'Grady Peyton. So, okay, as we said, Connetics name might be familiar to you, O'Grady name might be familiar to you, but who is AmN International? Deirdre, can you tell us a little bit more about AmN and the numbers, the size, the stability of AmN?
Absolutely. So thank you, Tanya. So while we're waiting for the slide to come up, there's a lot of numbers on this slide, so don't let that, but really what's important about these numbers is that it's really important as you choose a partner to come to the USA, that it is, it's really, sorry that, as I said, I'm in a hotel room and housekeeping just came in, so I apologize for that. Hey, it's live. It's a live show. These things happen. But what's really important is when you look at these numbers, combined, we have over 40 years of experience in assisting international nurses and their families transition to the US. We have helped over 10,000 international nurses come to the US, and look at that 12,000 plus hospital facilities or other healthcare settings that we currently work with. So what does that mean to you? That means opportunities, it means choice, it means that whatever is important to you, Sinead mentioned pay, geographic location, we have the opportunity for you and your family, and we want to make sure that when you work with us, we are your career matchmaker and we will get you where you want to be. So we are the top ranked US nursing staffing firm in the staffing space and the direct hire space. We have over 60 clinical support specialists that are working with you to make sure that your transition is seamless and successful. We are the first Joint Commission certified corporate staffing firm. So that's very, very important because we hold ourselves to a very high standard, just like you hold us to a very high standard. We have a 4.7 satisfaction score on a 5-point scale. So that is phenomenal. And we're also listed on the New York Stock Exchange. So why is that important? Particularly in this, we're in retrogression right now. That's very, very important when you consider you want to choose a partner that has stability, that has longevity. So I know I've given you a lot of numbers. I'm excited to take your questions at the end, but I'll hand it back over to Tanya.
Thank you, Deirdre. And I think the message here, everybody watching who might be familiar with Connetics and O'Grady Payton, but not necessarily AmN International, is for you to be able to see that this is a player that will be able to help you with your journey. So we're not going anywhere. AmN International, listed on the New York Stock Exchange. This is a $4 billion company. We have both direct hire and staffing, great choices, more choices than any other staffing or direct hire player in the United States, and really somewhere where you can have peace of mind to know that we're going to be with you along in this journey. It's not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you stand up. And just to go back again to Tom Hanks, who said it's supposed to be hard. The message I just like to convey is that you are not alone, and we are here to help you. And we've got the expertise, we've got the reputation, we've got the jobs to help you to go through this process. Okay, so I know we have a lot of people watching us. We've got Sinu saying hi, Vezi's from Swaziland, near to my home country, South Africa. Agatha's watching from Zambia, Kirby from the Philippines, Jeanette from Cyprus, Sayad Darmaril, I probably got that wrong, from Dubai, Tracy from Nigeria, Mariette Smitsu from Lesotho, also close to my home country, Mary from Riyadh, Zildjian from, I'm not even sure how to pronounce that, Samara from Brazil. Oh my goodness, this is so fun with everybody around the world watching us. Please put your questions in the chat if you have questions about AmN International, if you have questions about Connetics, if you have questions about O'Grady. We would love to have your questions and see if we can share information. Education is power. Information is power. So that's what today's show is all about. And I'm just checking in the chat for, there's a lot of questions. Okay, I see Lily has a question. Ma'am, I want to know something about my USA dream. I've joined in your group since 2004 and passed NCLEX exam, waiting for English exam. Can I continue with your group OET and acceptable or not? So Lily, it looks like you've passed your NCLEX and you are working on your English exam. You don't say anything about your immigration side. But yes, from the 1st of August, the CGFNS opened up other exams. So it's not just the English, the IELTS and the TOEFL. You now have options to do the OET and the PTE. And Lily, as part of the Connetics Care Package, and O'Grady has the same, we pay for your English course if you have already passed your NCLEX. So great question there from Lily. Okay, so we're going to move now to Holly, who's going to talk about how O'Grady Payton and Connetics are the same. There's a lot of similarities. Sometimes there's a myth that they're so different, but they're actually quite similar. Holly?
Yes. So the similarities sometimes surprise people, but we are one of the benefits, I guess, is that we both work with top healthcare systems in the United States, and that gives us the ability to match nurses based on their wants and needs. So more choice. We're very highly competitive with pay and benefits on both sides. So the options there are very competitive. We both provide full service pre and post arrival support. So what does that mean? Well, we have a circle of support that assists nurses all the way through with their immigration, their licensure, their onboarding when they arrive here, things like an airport pickup or going to get groceries. Those are things that those firsts may not seem very important to you right now, but they are very important when you're first arriving. And so that kind of support is available through both of our organizations. We do hire for all specialties. So Tanya, I saw someone in the chat who said, what if you have no hospital experience? There may still be opportunities for you, but obviously most hospitals are looking for hospital experience, but that doesn't mean that we can't explore what options might be there for you, because we're working with so many different organizations throughout the United States. Obviously, as I mentioned, because it's throughout the United States, that means location choices are expanded by us being together. And we are both certified by the Alliance and DMW, and we've all achieved some very positive recognition through social media. Our Facebook with Connetics, I think, is about a 5 out of 5 on the rating, but we both have very positive ratings on CGFNS, a 97% for Connetics and a 92% for OGP. So combined together, we really do become a powerhouse of assistance for you.
Thank you, Holly.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that you spoke about our rating. I'm just looking at in the chat, there's a message here from Rainey who says, I'm a Connetics nurse and I got here 5 years ago. Connetics has done a tremendous job guiding me throughout the process. Tanya and the rest of the team, especially Ernie, great shout out Ernie, and our onboarding team. And the onboarding was there for me, especially during retrogression. So Rainey went through the retrogression too. This has come and gone, and we are still here to tell the story with Rainey and many other thousands of nurses. My case specialist never gave up reaching out to me and always encouraging me not to give up on my American dream. Thank you so much, Connetics USA, for bridging the gap, and now I'm living the dream. We love that, Rainey. Thank you for posting. And that's what we want for everybody who's watching today, to be living your American dream. Lisa, Holly mentioned all of the different facilities that we've got all over the United States. Do you want to tell us about just some of them? Because there are thousands of hospitals, long-term care, rehab facilities, surgery centers in the United States. And as AmN International, we have access to all of them. But Lisa, maybe tell us about a few of those and give us a few shout outs. I know we have a slide about that. You're on mute, Lisa. Lisa, you on mute.
Yeah, live again. No, we have some amazing facilities that we work with. We're just so honored. We've been very fortunate to go and meet with these hospitals. Sanford Health in the North Dakota, South Dakota area, large facilities, fantastic benefits, absolutely fabulous. Baylor Scott and White, one of the most prestigious hospitals in the country in Texas. We work with the Mayo Clinic, which their reputation, supersedes them. So we have so many fantastic options in so many locations. And that's what I find absolutely fantastic about our partnership and AmN International, is that we can pretty much give you what you're looking for, whether it's location, benefits, pay, or prestige in one of these facilities. As you can see here, there's direct hire in multiple states, staffing, and together, I mean, we cover the entire map of all 50 states. So that's pretty amazing. And for, like I said, working in this industry for a long time, this is unprecedented. So I'm very excited that we have all of these options for you available.
Thank you, Lisa. So you have choice. And our career matchmakers, our recruiters are on board right now. So apply to the amnhealthcare.com/international website, and our team on both sides are on call to help you to make your American dream a reality, like Rainey is. I see
Tanya, I'm going to jump in there and just share a little bit about my nursing experience when I got to the United States. So I went to a hospital in California. I was very, very young and a pretty new graduate. And I thought you resonate with this a little bit. So I got maybe 2 or 3 days of orientation. And on my third shift, I was written up for not doing a procedure correctly. So that was not a great start for me. So I think one of the common, the similarities between Connetics and AmN International, again, I talked about the care that we give to the people that we bring to the United States. It's really, really important to us that we partner with healthcare facilities who care about giving you the tools that you need to be successful. I see one of our clients in our chat today from ECU Health, a great partner on the staffing side who has done a phenomenal job of building an international fellowship program that not only addresses the clinical things that you need to be successful in the United States, but also thinks about how you integrate with the US culture in your nursing practice. So that's really what we do when we look for partners in the healthcare systems. It's not we want everybody in the United States to bring in international nurses. We really want to build programs that are highly successful, where you are successful in your clinical transition. Because when you come from different parts of the world, nursing is not the same. There are differences in the way we practice. Certainly the level of care that international nurses give in all of their nursing experience is the same, but the way we deliver care in the United States can be a little bit different, and it takes a little bit of time to adjust. So those healthcare systems that you saw on the previous slide, they are all very, very experienced in integrating international nurses into their health systems and helping them to be successful and ultimately choosing to stay forever. We have nurses who are still at their first facility 10 years later, and then we have nurses that fulfill their commitment and decide to do something different for a little while, but then go back to the first facility that they were at. So really, I think that's the big difference with AmN Healthcare International Facilities, is the level of care they give to the nurses, especially during the orientation period. So back to you, Tanya.
Thank you for sharing that, Sinead. I think it's so interesting to hear about your experience as a nurse coming to the United States as a new grad, and how there can be hiccups, there can be bumps in the road, but we get through this, and again, we get through this together. I think one thing just to mention that Sinead was talking about is that care, is that expertise, and that Lisa shared, is the choice. We have so many choices combined. So if you are wanting to go, if you have a sister in New York, you have a friend in California, you have a relative in Texas, or you've always wanted to go to Florida, we have facilities, hospitals, long-term care, rehab facilities, all over the United States. If you have your NCLEX, I see there was a question about the NCLEX. From Marie Chris, yes, you need your NCLEX if you are a nurse to come to the United States. At the same time, we have so many choices, so much expertise, and so much support for you. Sinead, do you want to share maybe some of the differences that are evident in the direct hire versus the staffing model?
Sure, Tanya, I'd be happy to. So I'll start with the direct hire model, because I think many of the viewers are more familiar with direct hire. Again, as I said at the top, in the direct hire model, the employer is the sponsor of your immigrant visa. So the healthcare system, they're your employer and your visa sponsor. The healthcare system provides benefits. So when Tanya talks about choice, think of your life cycle as a nurse. You start your career, you're a new grad, you maybe don't have a partner, you haven't had kids. And when you think about what you're looking for, maybe location is the top thing that is important to you. You want to be beside friends and family. So as you're looking at direct hire and staffing options, you want to see who has job openings in those locations that you're interested in. But then maybe later on in the life cycle of your professional career, other things may be more important to you. So healthcare benefits in the direct hire model tend to be better. So if health insurance is very important to you, maybe you have a pre-existing health condition, then you might want to think about, well, where are the benefits better in the direct hire versus the staffing model? I think there's misinformation out there that in the staffing model, pay is not competitive. So I want to explain a little bit about how pay is set in the staffing model. So pay is set towards the midline of the geography in the staffing model. It's not set at the minimum prevailing wage. And I think there's a misunderstanding with nurses overseas that it's set at the minimum prevailing wage in the staffing model. That is not correct. If we brought nurses in at the minimum prevailing wage in this competitive market, they would not continue to work for us. So we set to the midline of the geography. So for nurses with less experience, you actually can do better in the staffing model because you're not being paid based on the experience you do or don't have. In the direct hire model, the pay is set based on the years of experience. And that's where it can actually be better in the direct hire model if you have a lot of experience. So just consider about weighing those options and have plenty of conversations. Make sure you're asking really good questions and that you understand the answers to those questions. The staffing side, so the biggest call out there is the shorter assignment length. It's 2 years in the staffing model. When you choose who you're going to come to the United States with and where you're going to be assigned to, you might want to think, well, maybe I want the staffing model. I'll come in, I'll get a really solid orientation with great support, and my commitment length is 2 years. And then I can decide what I want to do longer term. So think about weighing the pros and cons in the direct hire and the staffing model and pick what's right for you. It's all about choice. And together we have choice in every state in the United States. So do your due diligence. I'm not saying interview with everybody everywhere, but fine tune what you're looking for, what's important to you. It's not necessarily important to everybody else, but get those top 3 things that are really important to you, and then fine tune your search in the direct hire and the staffing models based on those things that are important to you.
Thank you, Sinead. That was a great overview of the differences between the direct hire and the staffing model. And I think the key things here to keep in mind is career matchmaker. What is a matchmaker, everybody? A matchmaker is someone who's going to find out what it is that's important to you and then find the right fit. And that's what we do. So it doesn't matter to us whether it is on the direct hire side or the staffing side. Doesn't matter to us if you are looking mainly for great benefits, if you have a pre-existing health condition, or if you're looking to go into the snow where you want to experience 4 seasons, or you don't want the snow, or you want to go to where you're going to get higher wages. Maybe you want to go specifically to California and you want direct hire because you have relatives there and you want to earn what an American nurse earns with equivalent years of experience and education. Or maybe you're a new grad and I would just want to learn. I want to go to a great system that knows how to integrate international nurses, and the staffing model is only 2 years. Yay, after that maybe I can become a travel nurse with AmN International, or maybe I'll stay on at my employer. So I have that choice, but I'm going to earn more as a new grad on the staffing side. So there is so much choice, and really the key here is education. As Sinead said, educate yourself about what you are looking for and what the options are, because there are a lot of myths. There's a myth that direct hire is better than staffing. Not necessarily. There's other myths. There's a myth that, if we put up that slide about the myths, there is a myth that direct hire doesn't have full service support throughout the process. Holly, is that true? Holly, is that true? You're on mute, Holly.
Yeah, sorry about that. So no, it's not true. I happen to be part of the full service support process for Connetics, and I can tell you, I do a lot to assist with our nurses and our facilities in their clinical programs and their onboarding process. And we want to meet the needs of our nurses and healthcare professionals, whether it is the onboarding that I talked about earlier with pickup from the airport and grocery stops, or someone who maybe is getting prepared to come to the US and they're going to do some clinical training modules beforehand so they can start to maybe up their baseline a little bit. Or once they're here, maybe they're struggling with their EMR and they want some tips and tricks. We have in Connetics, we have an angel network, which is hugely impactful because our nurses who've actually become alumni for us get to help nurses who are here. So we've got a full package through our circle of support that looks at whether they need guidance for their license, guidance for immigration. We have buddies that we connect through the community. And we also have things like the Connetics Clubhouse, where we bring our future arriving nurses and our alumni together to talk about things that are important to them and help each other. So we have a big network in direct hire that helps to support the healthcare professionals through every part of the process. And that's what we are always excited to share and remove the myth.
Thank you, Holly. And myths are so common because you need to educate yourself about what direct hire and staffing is all about. So another myth is that staffing doesn't have competitive pay. Deirdre, is this true? I know Sinead touched on it.
Sinead did touch on it. No, that is not true. So Sinead mentioned that it's based on the midline of prevailing wage. So that is absolutely not true. But, you know, it does depend on where you are located, right? So the cost of living in California, for example, is going to be different the cost of living in Alabama. So your pay rates will probably be aligned with where you are going to be located. But that is absolutely not true. When you are working with AmN Healthcare International, particularly O'Grady Peyton International, not only are you in receipt of highly competitive pay, but also best-in-class benefits. Think of 401k, think of vision dental, which is probably foreign language right now. I know that when I came to the United States, I didn't understand that. But that's where the support comes in as well, is that we have teams that are very, very experienced in helping you navigate through that. And when you work with us, again, going back to that career matchmaker, when you work with your recruiter, we always want to make sure that you've got all of the information up front so that you can make the best decision for you and your family. We want you to make a decision that is going to work for you long term. Right. And when you think about what that looks like, Sinead mentioned the top 3 things that are important to you. So maybe you have family in a location, maybe continuing education is important to you. You want to select a facility that's going to offer you those opportunities, or is it location? You know, my own experience when I first came to the US, I've lived in, I think, 4 different states. I've lived in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, California, and now I'm located in Georgia. And so every single state has redeeming qualities. And I would encourage you to, again, to echo what Sinead said, do your due diligence and make the choice that is going to be a long-term successful opportunity for you. And you know what? If it's not, 2 years is a short time. You can do whatever you want to. And we've had many of our nurses continue to stay in the location that they are in. But many others choose to continue their career elsewhere. And that's perfectly okay. Whatever's the best decision for you and your family.
Great. Thank you, Deirdre. And lots of options. As Deirdre says, she's lived in many different states. I'm just looking in the chat and I see a comment from Mark Gordon, who started as an O'Grady nurse, completed his contract in January 22, and transitioned into a travel nurse with AmN International, the biggest travel nursing company in the United States. So I know many nurses want to become travel nurses, and that's possible with AmN, only company in the industry who has both direct hire, both staffing model, and you can become an international, a travel nurse with the AmN organization. So lots and lots of options there. I know there's some other myths. Sinead, maybe we want to just touch on 2 of those, and I'm just watching the clock because we're running out of time and there's so much to cover. That staffing has longer commitments than direct hire, because we know that isn't true, but let's give a little bit of clarification on that. And the other one also is that in the staffing myth is that you get moved around constantly and get treated like a number.
Perfect, Tanya, I'll take that. So I should point out O'Grady Peyton International, not necessarily all of staffing, has the shortest commitment. So if you are looking for the shortest commitment period, O'Grady Peyton International is definitely the one that you want to choose, because we have just over a 2-year contract compared to most other commitment terms in the staffing and direct hire models, which are 3 years. To the myth that you get moved around, we actually do not move nurses to other locations during the assignment unless it's absolutely necessary. If something untoward happens that we weren't anticipating. But our contracts with our healthcare facilities are for the assignment length. So they're for the full period of the assignment. You do not get moved. We do not believe that it contributes to your clinical success. So in the O'Grady Peyton staffing model, we do not move you from one place to another. We also have you come to your assignment right from the very beginning. I think in some other models, you come to a location initially for orientation and maybe some integration. Our success has really been bringing you right to the healthcare facility, having you do your orientation and onboarding right there, bringing your family with you. It's very important that your loved ones are coming with you, because this is hard. Back to Tanya's slide, this is not easy. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. So really just coming to the place that you're going to be assigned to and having your loved ones around you so that you can support each other. If you're bringing teenage kids to America when they're fully integrated in their school in the country that you live in, the kids might have a harder adjustment than you will have. If you're bringing babies, they're going to be cool in about 3 months, whereas you might be having the adjustment. So just really think about that security of location in your selection process, making sure that you're coming with your family directly to the assignment all together, because I think that truly is the best choice.
Thank you, Sinead. So very important shout out there. Not all staffing companies are the same. O'Grady Peyton is the only company in the industry who has a 2-year commitment. Let me say that again. O'Grady Peyton is the only company in the industry that has a 2-year commitment. And there's a follow-up question, Sinead, from Angaric, who's saying, is the staffing contract last for exactly 2 years, or is it by hours?
Great question. So it's based on straight time hours. In some of the staffing models, they count overtime towards your contract length. In the O'Grady Peyton contract, it's straight time hours. So think of the regular hours that you work every week. You're paid for all of the overtime at the overtime rate based on the state that you live in, but the contract is based on the straight time hours that you work. So if you're working 36 hours a week, it'll probably take you 24 to 26 months. But still, compared to 3 years, that's significantly shorter.
Yeah, that's a huge difference. I see there's so many questions in the chat, and I'm trying to get to everyone. So just for everybody to know that if we're not able to get to your question, our team are on hand also, and they will be putting answers into the chat for any of the questions that we are not able to get to today. But I see there are a lot of questions about specific locations. I see there was a question here from Gricia about New Jersey. Maybe Gricia, you know people in New Jersey and you want to go specifically there, and people are asking to put the map back up that Lisa spoke about. So let's put that map back up and just look at that map of the United States. So if we look at the green areas, those are the areas where we've got specifically direct hire options. Okay. If we look at the dark blue areas, those are the areas where we have specifically staffing options. And then the purple is where we have both direct hire and staffing. Every state is covered, everybody. It doesn't matter if it's staffing or if it's direct hire. We have opportunities in every single state. And I see a lot of questions in the chat asking, do you have to have bedside experience? Not necessarily. We have some facilities that will take nurses, we call them fellowship nurses, they'll have extra orientation and training. If you may not necessarily have recent or have good bedside experience, maybe you worked in a BPO or a call center or something like that, or you have a gap of experience. I see there are many questions about different specialties. So yes, we have positions in PACU, in ER, ICU, med-surg, dialysis, OR, everything. We have every different kind of choice. Last but not least, the last myth that we have, Lisa, is do we need experience and English to apply to both models?
Well, as you mentioned about experience, we do offer a fellowship program, and as you also mentioned, we have multiple facilities across the country that have different needs. So it's not necessarily true that you need to have experience, though. I think we would recommend experience is good for you to have before you come, but it's not always a requirement. Same with English. Obviously, most of you or all of you should know that English is a requirement to come and work in America, and also for some states for licensure, but it's not necessarily a requirement to apply and to get hired in a position. both of us have, both models have opportunities to learn and have study programs and scholarships available for English. So we do provide a lot of support in that regard. We have an English department that will be there to guide you and to help you, along with multiple programs for English. So I think that is, one big myth. Of course, you do need it, but we are here to help you with that.
Thank you, Lisa. So in answer to the questions that we're getting in the chat, if you are a new grad, we can help you. If you have limited experience, we can help you. If you have a lot of good experience in all the different specialties, we can help you. It doesn't matter what state you want to go to. It doesn't matter what your specialty is. We can help you. Like any good coach, like Tom Hanks, who was helping Gina Davis. Think of yourself as the sports person. Gina Davis was the baseball player, and she was about to give up. She was about to quit, and she had her coach who had the expertise, he had the knowledge, he had the motivation, he had the support to help her through that hurdle. And in the end, we all know the story of In a League of Their Own. The team won. So that's what we want for all of you, is to come to the United States and to live your American dream. Okay, so today's show is going to be a little longer because we have some of the nurses that we're going to be bringing in now on both the OGrady and the Connetics side. And we're going to take a little bit more of a deeper dive into the OGrady model specifically, speak to an OGrady nurse, find out about their experience, and help you to learn why OGrady Payton, how OGrady Payton can help you from the recruitment and the licensing perspective. As well as from an onboarding perspective. Okay, so we're going to bring in an OGrady nurse, and we're going to bring back Deirdre and Sinead. Hi, John. Welcome to the show.
Hi. Hi, everyone.
John.
Good to see you, Jen.
Thank you.
So nice to see you, John. I know that John is going to be sharing his experience now with everybody. John, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and also tell us about why you wanted to come to the United States?
All right. Hi, everyone again. Excuse me. My name is John, and I am a mental health and psychiatric nurse. I've been working here in the beautiful state of Massachusetts for over a year now. And why I wanted to work in the United States, it's because of my American dream. We have a lot of opportunities here for nurses. You can work wherever you want it to be. You can work as a nurse practitioner, which will be my next goal, maybe in the coming years from now on. And yeah, I'm happy to be here and to share my experience, especially with my OGrady parent family. And thank you for having me here.
John, and I'm just looking in the chat. Bella is saying, oh my God, he's my classmate.
Oh.
That's the fun of our show, Onwards and Upwards. This is live, everybody. And John's classmate, Bella, is watching and is so excited to be seeing you in your new environment and learn. Bella says you were classmates in the Philippines. So fun for you to be able to meet Belle here on Onwards and Upwards. John, why did you choose OGrady Payton to bring you to the United States?
Yeah, it may sound, unreal, but, during the time of the pandemic, I was aiming to work in a different country, really, but the pandemic hit and my processing got delayed, and then I prayed so hard, to God to give me some insight of where should I go next. And then eventually one day I got a message from my cousin, and she told me she was still working with OGrady Payton that time, and she told me that OGrady Payton provides support with nurses who don't have NCLEX yet. So I said, of course, why not? I will apply. So I looked at the website of OGrady Payton. I submitted my application. I submitted my English examination. And then after a few days, I got a word from the recruitment team. And they sent me some checklist, which I filled out right away because I'm very eager to process my application and to go to the United States right away. So after a few days, I got a word again from my recruiter, Karina German, asking me about I actually had a problem with my are not really a problem, but a concern with the nurse-patient ratio in my country. So she didn't give up until I get a go signal or an offer to be with OGPs. So eventually I got an offer for the pre-NCLEX program, wherein they will support me with my NCLEX processing and everything. So it is like a 5-month review. And then after 5 months, I got the assessment for me to go with my NCLEX, and eventually I passed. I passed my examination July 2021. I processed my visa screening right away. And good thing my English examination was still valid until I got my CGFNS certificate or my visa screen certificate. And then after 10 months of processing, from the time I passed my NCLEX, I was able to get my visa and step my foot on the United States of America.
Wow.
So that's how quickly the processing was with me.
That is fantastic, John. And tell us what it was like when you first put your step on the United States soil.
I
Tell us about that moment.
You know what? When I first went to when I first got here in the United States, I still couldn't imagine myself. I feel so blessed to be here. When I saw the JFK, like I couldn't believe I'm already in the United States of America. And from that day on, I said, "This is what I dream of, like having my own car, doing the job that I wanted to do, and having my own house, supporting my family back home." It's just surreal. Like I couldn't believe up until this moment. Like every day I wake up, I couldn't believe I'm already working here and achieving or realizing my American dream.
Wow. And
Yeah.
I know when you're speaking, John, I can just get goosebumps because I know that Sinead, Deirdre, and I are all remembering the first moment when we stepped into the United States, onto US soil. And it's just, you want to pinch yourself because it's just the best thing ever. And that's what we want for everybody. And it's possible, everybody. So, Deirdre, if you are looking at the process that John went through, just talk about the NCLEX, the English exam, the recruitment process, the immigration. How does it all work with OGrady?
Absolutely. So it's so good to see you again, John. John and I have become good friends over the last many years, and we've been fortunate enough to share his many milestones with him. Last time we spoke, you hadn't done your driving test yet, so sounds like you passed. So God, awesome. So we do have a best-in-class NCLEX preparation program. John is a great testament of the support that each of our nurses receive from our NCLEX preparation team. John passed on his first attempt. He didn't say that, but he did pass on his first attempt. So we really want to have our nurses be prepared to pass on their first attempt. When John started on his program back in 2020, we had one education option. So we've since expanded our program to provide more education options, more platforms for preparation, because we truly did listen to our nurses, and it really wasn't a one fits all, right? We all learn differently. Myself, I have to write things down in order to retain the information. But in this tech-enabled world right now, a lot of how we learn is kind of like how we're talking right now, right? Virtual seminars, etc. So we have many education platforms now that we provide to our nurses, and you get to choose. You get to choose what platform you are going to be most successful on. So John mentioned the English exam. So when you are preparing for NCLEX, it is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And here at OGrady Payton, in our 40 years of experience, we have recognized that it is really important to just focus on that NCLEX preparation. So we do require that you have passed your English prior to being accepted into our NCLEX preparation program. And that truly is in your best interest, because I think that in our many conversations, John has shared with me that English was actually more challenging. To pass the English exam can be very very challenging. And so we want you to take care of that requirement before you invest time and energy into preparing for NCLEX. And now, of course, we're in NCLEX Next Generation. Very, very pleased to announce that we've seen very, very successful results as we started preparing our nurses for NCLEX Next Generation as well. So I can take any questions at the end about our NCLEX program, but I do again want to thank John for joining us today and sharing his story with us. Just such a true advocate of O'Grady Peyton International and always willing to join us on these events to share his story. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Deirdre. So I think a very comprehensive overview of how O'Grady helped nurses, whether it's with the NCLEX, with their NCLEX scholarship, with the English, with the whole recruitment process, finding the right match, and John is living testament to that. Sinead, can you talk to us a little bit about the contract, what somebody can expect when they get an OGP contract, an O'Grady Peyton contract?
Sure. So at the point of recruitment, really two choices. If you're very specific about where you want to be, at location specific, we are hosting client interview events now. So just really important that you talk to the recruitment team and tell them what's most important to you. It might be, no, I have a sister in Texas and it's really important that I get to that location from the onset. If you're open on location, let's say you don't know very much about the United States and you want to be given multiple options to consider, then O'Grady Peyton International can offer you a contract. There'll be a minimum rate of pay in that contract, but when you accept your assignment, then you will get your final rate of pay based on the actual assignment that you're accepting. So you may come in and say, I'm open to multiple locations around the United States. Tell me what you have for an ICU nurse. So we'll go search all of our orders in our healthcare systems and we'll say, okay, you match these 10. Here are the pay rates for those 10 facilities. Who would you like to interview with? We don't like you to interview with 10. We want you to kind of fine tune, do your research, really important. Go and learn something about the different states. I never did any research. I just went to California. I didn't know California had very different facets based on whether it was in the middle of the state or whether it was a city. So I thought I was going to San Francisco, but it wasn't San Francisco. It was about 100 miles from San Francisco. And that was very different. So I would say, do your research. You've got to learn about the United States to know that what you're selecting is right for you. Look at cost of living, look at pay rates in the geographic location. Do your research. It's really, really important. I can't emphasize that enough. So in the contract, though, it's 2 years, 4,160 straight time hours. We give you PTO. We are the employer. Really important for you to remember when you arrive in the United States, you are working for us. You're working for AmN Healthcare, and we provide your benefits. So and then we give you assistance to travel to the US. You get an end of contract bonus. We have a bonus for nurses who come to us with NCLEX. So make sure you know what O'Grady Peyton International offers in terms of bonuses as well. So that's an overview for you, Tanya.
Thank you, Sinead, and really good advice there. Do your research, everybody. Don't make the same mistake that Sinead made, but she didn't know where she was going. But again, a big shout out to the contract, to the commitment length of O'Grady Peyton. I know we've spoken about it. Does anyone in the chat know how many years the OGP, the O'Grady Peyton commitment is? If you know what the number is, put that in the chat, because they are the only company in the industry that have that length of commitment. If you know what it is, put in the chat. There we go. Milanis says 2 with a lot of exclamations. Well done, Milanis. Great job there. Okay. John, when you were preparing to come to the United States, how did you go about that? First question. And second question, what was the support like when you got here?
Yeah, when I was preparing, I was still working in the Europe during that time. So I got my coordinator working with me for my apartment, for my visa, for my application for my licensure, licensure here in Massachusetts because initially my license is in Illinois. So I did my SSN trip wherein I went to the United States for 2 days just to process my social security and then went back to where I was working and then waited until my license has become active here in Massachusetts. And that's the time we finalized everything. They supported me with my apartment. They even provided me with a loan at 0% interest just to pay for my 3 months here in my apartment where I am residing right now. So it is really a great support. So when I arrived here, I stayed in a hotel, and then after a day, I was picked up by an OGP coordinator who drove me to my apartment, processed all my banking needs, processed all the credit cards, helped me with my mobile number, and helped me with my initial shopping until I get settled. So it was really a great support. They were in contact with me all the time up to today. Like I always get a call from OGP asking how am I doing with my current work or if I do have any concerns. And as of right now, I don't have any concerns. I get what I wanted. My goal is being achieved. And in just 10 months of working here in the United States, I was able to go back home. I had a quick vacation where I was able to enjoy a good time with my family. I celebrated my father and mother's birthday back home. I just came back like 2 weeks ago and utilized my PTO. So that's it. It's correct. Sinead, as what Sinead has said, we there is a PTO that you can use. And I got a support from my own facility and with OGrady Payton, and I was able to achieve what I have to for this year. So I'm so happy and blessed that I am really achieving my or living my American dream.
That's amazing, John. We're so happy for you. Deirdre, John's spoken about a lot of the support that he got from O'Grady Payton on the onboarding side. Can you maybe add in a little bit on the clinical side of how O'Grady Payton help support international healthcare workers?
Absolutely. So this is a question that we get quite frequently. So, in your current country of practice, you're probably, depending on how many years of experience you have, you may be the go-to person at your facility. And it's different when you come here to the US, and we recognize that there is a transition period. So from even before you arrive in the US, you start working with our clinical team. So there is pre-arrival education based on where you're going to be placed that our clinical managers will guide you through. We have back up to the previous slide where we talked about all of the numbers. We have over 60 clinical professionals between both Connetics and O'Grady Payton that their function is to support you every step of the way. So then once you arrive here in the US, you work very, very closely with a clinical manager that is assigned to you. So you have a clinical manager that will be supporting you for the duration of your commitment. And that's very, very important because, you want to create a relationship with your clinical manager because they are going to be that clinical support for you. Our clinical managers also work very closely with our facilities on really identifying best practices for a successful orientation. Our clinical management team actually works with, they're in constant communication with our hospitals and of course with you as well to make sure that everything is going smoothly. Any clinical concern at all that you have, you'll want to bring that to your clinical manager. And John had mentioned that he gets routine calls from our internal team. And, not only is that from a support standpoint, but also we keep in regular contact with our nurses from a clinical standpoint as well. Our clinical team, we've actually got, I think it is 3 previous OGP nurses that came from various parts of the world. Of course, Sinead is one herself, but they know what it's like. So they have been through this process and they can help you every step of the way. So that clinical support is really, really key in choosing a partner to help you transition successfully to the United States. And I know that John still works very, very closely with his clinical manager, but that really is a key differentiator when you consider what support you're going to need when you come to the US, because right now it's all exciting and you set foot on US soil and it's so exciting and there's going to be a lot of firsts, but it's also very challenging. And we want to make sure that you've got that support.
Yeah, exactly. It's so challenging, and really having that robust support and that expertise is hugely, hugely important. So we're going to thank you so much, John, for sharing your story, Deirdre and Sinead for sharing your expertise. They're going to be back at the end of the show to give their final advice, but we're going to move now to do a little bit more of a deep dive for the last 15 minutes on the Connetics side. And the Connetics side, we're going to bring in back Holly and Lisa, as well as two of the Connetics nurses. We're going to be bringing in Catherine and Teresa. Hi, welcome everybody.
Hi everyone.
So nice to meet Catherine and Teresa.
Hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good night.
Exactly. Welcome to everyone around the world. Catherine, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background and why you wanted to come to the United States?
Yeah. First of all, it's such a pleasure. I feel so flattered to be part of the show. So thanks for the invitation. My name is Catherine Cruz. I am from Brazil. So all Brazilians that are there, so you can come with me. I am a registered nurse since 2018. I'm married, have 2 kids, and I am living in Jacksonville, Florida. And I work for Baptist Health in the Progressive Care Unit, PCU.
Thank you, Catherine. And as Catherine says, we have many Brazilian nurses, many nurses from the Philippines, nurses from Africa, nurses from the UK, nurses from Canada, nurses from India, nurses from Nepal. I can go on and on and on. So many nurses from around the world. And we love our international nurses coming to the United States. Teresa, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. Good morning. First of all, I would like to thank you, Miss Tanya, for having me in your show. It's my pleasure to be here. My name is Teresa, and I'm a registered nurse from the Philippines. I have been working as a nurse for 11 years, and I started my career in a military hospital. I work in the emergency room, and afterwards, I work in the operating room in a different hospital. And then in year 2018, I decided to go to the United Kingdom, thinking it would be a good place as a jump start for my career to hone my skills while I'm waiting for my US dream. And I worked there in trauma and emergency room for 4 years. And then finally, just October last year, me and my husband moved here to USA. And I started working here in the emergency room in University Hospital here in Memphis, Tennessee. Thank you, Tanya.
Thank you, Teresa, and so wonderful to have both Catherine and Teresa here with us today. Catherine, why did you choose to work with Connetics USA, and what was your experience like?
First of all, long story short, it was like my husband's dream to come to the United States. So I just embraced the dream with him. We've worked for that for a long time. And Connetics came to my life while I had, no options or nowhere to go. I was kind of a little bit lost. And then I got very nice references from you. So some friends that already worked with you just talked me about Connetics. And so why not applying for Connetics? And you were all so supportive. So I've been here for just 3 months. It's going to be 3 months. And I just started my nursing solo career without orientation this week.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, it's so challenging.
Yeah, it's a lot in the beginning. Catherine, what was it like for you going through the recruitment, the immigration, the licensing process? What was that experience like for you?
It's a great question, because sometimes we listen to people's experience, and then we just think that we're gonna have the same experience that they are having, but each one has to face their own challenges. So my process was a little bit confusing because it took so long, Tanya. And I can't forget, I have a paper here with some names that I have to say.
Oh, I love that.
So
Go ahead, Catherine.
my thanks to Jocelyn, Janelle, and there is this paralegal that works from Hammond Group called Keely. I don't know if her name is Keely or Keely, but
Keely.
she was so supportive all the time. She was answering the questions. And also you, Lisa. Lisa, you sent me so many emails while I was so lost. Oh my God, it's taking so long. Why is it taking so long? And then you were just like there by my side. So I just started the process in July 21st. And then I already had my NCLEX. I already had my visa screen. So I was just with my English exam pending, which I took like 1 month later. And then I got this interview for the Baptist South, and I passed the interview, and my journey, my immigration journey started. I came to the United States 3 months ago. So after, these 2 years of waiting, and then you were there by my side, Irving, Adina, and I can't forget my onboarding specialist, Bong.
Fabulous, Catherine. That's so wonderful. I'm so thank you for giving a shout out to all of our team that works so hard to help you every step of the way.
I might be forgetting some names, but I mean, all of you are all so supportive. And this is, my biggest shout out to Connetics. This is the thing I tell everyone.
Thank you, Catherine. We so appreciate that. I didn't even know that you were going to do that, but thank you for doing that. I'm just looking at the clock, and my heart is beating because, oh my goodness, we have 10 minutes. This is a longer show than normal because we have so much to cover, but we have 10 minutes, everyone. So we want to try and get through these last few things as quickly as possible. Lisa, Catherine spoke about the process, how it's so long, it's so overwhelming. You don't know where to start. It's so confusing. And thank goodness that she had the support, like the Tom Hanks character, the coach that's helping her through that process step by step. Do you want to take us through a 30-second, Lisa, 30-second run through the success path of Connetics, of what a nurse can expect when they're looking at coming to the United States?
Okay, well, first of all, that's going to be a challenge because Catherine made me cry. Second of all, there is just so much, but let me try to hit the highlights. Obviously, you'll come through our recruitment team. We prepare you for interviews with hospitals. We walk through your contract and offers with you. Then once you accept an offer, you will start working with our immigration team, who partner and liaise with some of the best attorneys in the country and work alongside you. We have access to what we call a Rely portal, which gives you a lot of information about your process of immigration, because it can be so confusing, like Catherine said. We do virtual calls with your attorney, with your employer. We try to do that quarterly, so you can, just kind of get an idea of what's happening, and then get a lot of questions answered by your attorneys. Oh my gosh, I feel a lot of pressure right now.
Let's put the success path back up again.
Oh yeah. Okay, hold on. All right. So the NCLEX Fast Pass, we do, again, like I said, preparation for the interview, the visa framework, getting your immigration paperwork put together, being with you every step of the way to help you through that process and that challenging process. The game plan, again, just doing virtual calls with your attorney, with your client, with your case managers on the initial calls, and with our team to try to answer all the questions. We can for you and to keep you, kind of relaxed while you're going through that. Your arrival, the onboarding, the Connetics Clubhouse, Circle of Support, there's so much, but we are here to give you all the support possible to make you so successful in America. And that is the goal for all of us. I don't think that any of us here at Connetics do this as it's not a job to us. This is just who we are and part of our genetic makeup, I think.
Exactly.
And
thank you, Lisa. We want to help. We really want to help, and we want to make a difference. And that's really what it is.
I just wanted to make one other comment that Catherine brought up. God bless you, honey. Is that everyone's journey is different. I tell nurses all the time, you're like snowflakes. There's not one that's alike. So always remember that. You may hear that your friend went through one thing and your situation is different, but yes, my friend, well, every situation is different. So thank you for bringing that up. And just know that we're going to support you through every single challenge and victory you have.
Respect your process. You have your process, so respect that.
Exactly. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Lisa. And if anybody is confused on the process, check it out on the Connetics USA website, on the amnhealthcare.com/international website. And just one shout out, I have seen that some people in the chat have said that Connetics was not responding to your application yet. We have been overwhelmed with applications. So I'm really so sorry about that. We take every one of your applications so seriously. We really want to help you. Please be patient with us. We are actually changing our application process because we have so many thousands of nurses that are applying to Connetics, to OGrady, and to AmN right now. So just be patient with us. We will get to you and we will find you the right fit. Teresa, I know that you have been through your process the same as Catherine, the same and maybe a little bit different, but you've been in the US for a little bit longer. Can you share with everybody what that onboarding process was like? We speak about the Connetics Circle of Support. Can you share with us some of those things that you have experienced from the Connetics side when you arrived in the United States?
So after I got my US visa, I was in UK, and then they gave me Miss Judy Lopez as my onboarding specialist. And since then, she always messaged me. She always she calls me, emailed me. I feel like she's online 24/7. She responded very quickly with all my questions. And what she did is she coordinated with me. Prior to arrival to US, I informed her of my arrival date, and then she coordinated the Airbnb that as our temporary stay. So on our arrival date, Connetics has a concierge. So at the airport, Mr. Eric, he drove us to our Airbnb, which is our temporary stay. And then Miss Judy Lopez helped us to get settled in. She helped us finding an apartment, giving us recommendations, which apartment is good. And she even tell us where is the nearest grocery store. And I even asked her, where's the nearest Asian store, where to buy rice, those stuff. So it's really a big help. Miss Judy Lopez, onboarding specialist, has been a great help to us. I mean, up till now, she's my friend. I've been messaging her. She is asking me if I have any concerns, how's my work, and all things like that. Thank you, Ms. Tanya.
Thank you, Teresa. So we love that Judy, and Judy's, just for everybody to know, our onboarding specialist in Tennessee is the wife of one of our international nurses, and really it's like chosen family, right, Teresa? Everybody, yes. You're nodding your head, everybody is there to help each other, and the community has grown and blossomed, and that's just such a beautiful thing. Holly, Teresa mentioned some of the things that are on our circle of support and our Connetics care package. I know we don't have time to go through that in detail, but maybe do you want to take, if we look first at the circle of support, do you want to maybe look at that circle of support and just give us a few shout outs of some of the things that Connetics do to set our nurses up for success when they arrive in the United States?
Yes. So, and I'll start with the clinical support because that's something that I'm directly connected to. So we do education consultation with our facilities in partnership to set our nurses up for success and support them through some of the hiccups. We talked about your journey being very personal and individualized. So sometimes the clinical adjustment requires a little bit of a contact point and support similar to some of the onboarding support that you may need. We also have our clubhouse where we bring our nurses together to talk about all kinds of relevant topics, clinical, cultural, financial things that maybe you didn't even consider until you're here. And then you go, wait a minute, what does credit have to do with me purchasing something? We also have our Angel Network, and that is something that I'm so impressed with. So you'll see it in the comments as well, that our angels pay it forward. So they come together and they help nurses. One of our nurses in particular, Blessing, made such an impact for me because I was trying to help a nurse at one of our facilities. And she said, let me just explain a little bit about my personal experience. And then I was able to talk to that nurse and relate to her so much better with that background. We put her together with Blessing as well. And we also were able to help the facility understand what the nurse was really experiencing. And between us, we were able to help that nurse get through the orientation process, feel more confident. And so those types of partnerships and collective support are what make my day better, even when it's challenging. And I think it helps our nurses tremendously.
Thank you, Holly. And you touched on when you were talking right now about the support and the care. So just to finish off, if you want to just talk very briefly about the Connetics care package, because this is really our way of paying it forward for international nurses. These are just some of the ways.
So I mentioned the Angel Network, and that is our alumni who may help throughout the United States. They're located, obviously, but we also locally have Adopt a Nurse, where nurses in the facility will adopt a nurse who's newly arrived and trying to figure their way out in their new job. Our clubhouse, I mentioned, our English review course is free and it has a great success. We've helped a lot of nurses through that process, and Jennifer and her team are amazing. The Onwards and Upwards weekly shows like we're doing today to give you more information. As we said earlier, knowledge is power. And our Connetics College also provides you with information about clinical education, English education. Those are free videos that we also, once we've done our live shows, then we post those for future reference. And this one's kind of near and dear to my heart. So the Rely portal is our newest offering, I think. And it is our way of giving nurses information at their fingertips. So Connetics nurses are added to a nurse portal where each phase of their journey is outlined for them to know what's expected, how much things might cost, what are some great references, information about their facility and their community. Our Get Ready game plan to help nurses kind of think through that process and be prepared. We look at how we can support nurses when their spouses are looking for jobs. We try to connect them with resources in that local community that might match the needs that they have. Our circle of support I mentioned earlier. And Tanya, you taught me about the gratitude journal. So I know you said that when you first got here, the gratitude journal was such a therapeutic part of your adjustment process. And we provide that to our nurses to share that that opportunity and way to help them kind of digest what they're going through. And also sometimes I think you could probably go back to that and be like, wow, I've come a long way. And then we also have our Nursing in America podcast where we're sharing some of these great experiences and information for nurses across the globe.
Thank you, Holly. And gratitude is the final note that I want to end off on. I just wanted to say I'm so grateful to our experts, to Sinead, to Deirdre, to Lisa and Holly, who have come today and share your expertise, your knowledge, your care, your experience with healthcare workers around the world. I think everybody can sense your passion, your willingness to help, and your purpose, which is to make lives different and just, to change the world a little better, and helping those come to the United States. As Tom Hanks said at the top of the hour, this is hard. This is not easy. It's not for everyone. But the hard is what makes it great. And we're going to finish off now thanking our nurses, Catherine and Teresa and John, for sharing your story and your experience, because I know that you have inspired many when they look at you and you are where they want to be. I know we have a graphic of all the nurses who've arrived this week from both O'Grady, Peyton, and Connetics over the last few days. And this can be you, everybody. This graphic can be you. So start your journey to America today. We know that the retrogression news this week was upsetting, was disappointing, was frustrating, but there's hope. Don't give up on the rewards. Don't give up now. It's hard, but we've got you. AmN International have many, many choices. We have many options. We have the expertise, we have the experience, we have the stability to get you to the United States. We're going to finish off now with a message from Paul, who is one of our friends of Onwards and Upwards. Paul is an international nurse that went through many retrogressions and got to the United States, and he's sharing his message of hope. Thank you for joining us, everyone, and onwards and upwards. And over to Paul to share his message of hope. Thank you, everybody.
As someone who survived retrogression, I had to wait almost 10 years to get to the United States. Abandoned by employer back in 2014 when I was already current. By the way, my priority is 2008. Abandoned by my employer in 2014. Got recaptured 2015. When I got recaptured, there was a retrogression again for several years back. Put me back another 2 years, almost 10 years to get here and live the American dream, the life that I wanted. Guys, do not stop with what you're doing. I have three key takeaways for you guys, for you nurses all over the world that are watching us today. The first one is continue with what you are doing, with the process that you are doing, whether it is filing I-140, whether it is getting documentary qualified, whether taking your IELTS, reviewing for the NCLEX, or doing your visa screen, or whatever processes your employers or your lawyers are requiring from you. Keep doing that. You want all of them in place for when the retrogression moves and it's time for you to be interviewed. You want all of them in place because the visa is numerically limited. Retrogression is a cycle. It happens. It will happen. It will keep happening. The first one that gets into the consul's desk with all their papers in gets to go to the United States first. Number two, do not make life-changing decisions until you have your visa. Don't sell your houses. A lot of people made this mistake. I've been an admin for Livora for 4 years. I've been a nurse here in the States for 6. I survived retrogression for 10 years. Heard people sold their houses, quit their jobs, or quit their kids' school, and then ending up having to have retrogression, and now they don't have visa because they're retrogressed for a year. Don't do that. Wait for your visa on your hand, and you have a flight to the United States before you make any life-changing decisions. And the last one is do something else while waiting. Go to Saudi, go to UK, go to Germany, stay in your country, and improve your nursing skills, get more competent, try another unit and try specialty units, but do something to improve your career. Once you get here, trust me, it will be worth it. If I quit, I would not have lived the American dream that I've always wanted when I was young. So that's it, guys. This is only 1 year retrogression, but we're going to survive through this. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you for the team who have helped share their experience and their inspiration, to our nurses who have shared their journeys and their words of advice. Thank you for joining us. Again, remember that AmN International have all of these options. We have the staffing model with O'Grady Peyton. We have the direct hire model with Connetics USA. We have choices across the United States. We are a stable company who can help you navigate this journey. As Tom Hanks said, this is hard. This is not easy. This is frustrating. This is difficult. This is not easy, but it's worth it. So thank you for joining us, everybody. Remember, we are better together, onwards and upwards, and we'll see you next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.